Hello everyone, this is G and I'm back with another video. So hope you're all doing okay. I've had a pretty long day today. I had to go do errands. So I'm hoping that next week will be a little bit easier on me. I am not the athlete I used to be, as certain people in certain videos who support a certain immature brat like to remind me that I'm fat. Yes, I'm quite aware. Believe it or not, these eyes do work. And I do look in the mirror and I'm quite aware of what I look like. But hey, you know what? If I look like a potato, then I am glad because potatoes are nutritious, they taste good, and they brought the Irish to America. So whenever you ever find yourself in an Irish bar again, especially after the coronavirus, you have me to thank. But anyway, moving on to the video and moving away from trolling comments from certain peoples. I just came across this tweet, the tweet has since been deleted, but I was just watching a video by Hero Hey, and he did a video about this person who works for Roosterteeth known as Miles Luna. Now, I don't follow Roosterteeth, I don't know who Miles Luna is, I don't much care. But what I am interested in is this tweet he made about Tifa, which he has since deleted, and of course now there's a firestorm because he made the tweet in the first place and then he deleted it. Yeah, to be fair to him, he did apologize for it and he's still apologizing for it. But he did delete it, right? But nothing's ever truly gone from the internet. So here's the thing. The tweet, right? In the tweet, he talks about how the Final Fantasy VII remake is weird. And basically he ends it by saying, as the protagonist, you're searching for cats with your prostitute friend. That prostitute friend being Tifa. Now, of course, this got people all up in arms. And here's the thing. I'm less bothered by the tweet itself, but I'm intrigued by what it says about him. That he looks at Tifa, and even if he just meant it as a tasteless joke, he looks at her and he sees her in this hypersexualized way. And he associates her with prostitution, right? Which is something that historically, traditionally, in all cultures, is something that is frowned upon, right? So he sees her as this, I guess you could say, this woman who provides sexual service for a price, who is reviled by society, generally speaking, right? And this is how he sees her, just because she wears a short skirt and the big chest, right, and whatnot. And of course, he goes on to try to defend himself, saying that he knows everybody in Final Fantasy looks weird, right? And then he makes another tweet about how, again, he knows that everybody in the Final Fantasy game is going to look weird, but that given the people that Tifa hangs around, right, the terrorists, right, Barrick, Cloud, Biggs, Wedge, Jesse, and all that other stuff, right, that her outfit is a little something. So to me, this says more about him than it does about Tifa's design. Because here's the thing. He focused on Tifa. He didn't say, for example, Yuffie, right, who, if you're just looking at, how much of her body is covered, is not too different from Tifa. But here's the thing. Yuffie's design, right, is much more childlike, right? She isn't as busty. She doesn't have hips or curves, right? Long legs, very tall and slim, right? She's meant to be the child of the group. In fact, if I remember correctly, in the original Final Fantasy VII, there is this arc, right? There is this story arc of hers, in a sense, where she has to go back to her hometown and sort of prove to her people, and I think in particular her father, that she is a grown woman and that, she can take care of herself and she can go adventuring and all this other stuff, right? So her design, right, the bright colors, like the white and I think it's like a pale green or whatever, contrasts, Tifa, who typically wears black and white, and just as a design, right, looks older, looks like a grown woman, right? The long dark hair, the black mini skirt. In the original game, the sort of wet white t-shirt look, and here they've added the black sports bra, right? But Tifa definitely looks more womanly. She looks like a grown woman as compared to Yuffie, right? And of course, there's the contrast between her and, say, Aerith, right? Who's this very, pure, virginal type of character in her design, right? Which is comparatively modest, especially when looking at Tifa, reflects that, right? She's the one with the holy materia in her hair and all this stuff. So I just find it funny how he looks at a woman, at least this woman, right, Tifa, who, because she dresses in this somewhat revealing manner, and a manner that emphasizes the fact that, again, she's a woman, right? And the way she dresses is pretty much anything that you would have found at like a 1980s Billy Idol or Poison or Motley Crue concert back in the day. But he looks at this and he immediately thinks of, a sex worker, right? Instead of just acknowledging that, hey, this is just a way the character looks, right? Instead of thinking up here, right, he immediately thinks, she's this, again, this sort of reviled, I guess you could say, character, or that's what he associates her with, right? A certain predominantly female profession where women are devalued and disrespected and things like that. And then he tries to justify himself by saying, well, there's no explanation given for why Tifa dresses the way she does. She works in a bar. She slings drinks for a living. Did you ever think about that? Maybe her more adult look, right, goes in line with her much more adult profession. I don't know, but it just makes me wonder where his head is at whenever he sees a pretty girl dressed in something that would be considered revealing or sexy, right? That his immediate thought is to say prostitute and only apologize right after he gets flack for it. It kind of actually very much reminds me of a situation earlier this year where, Melanie Mack, who's like the biggest Lara Croft fan on Twitter, got into, would it be a confrontation, right? But there was this guy, right, who was hassling her about Classic Lara Croft's design, right? And the argument has long been that the original design was sexually objectifying and all this stuff. And of course, Melanie Mack and myself included and many others have said, hey, she wasn't sexually objectified in the game. You want to talk about sexual objectification, that was in the marketing. That shouldn't be held against the game itself, right? But many of the detractors of Lara's original design, which I think, if you just think about skin shown, probably isn't too off from Tifa, right? They both have big chests, they both wear, Lara wears like short shorts, Tifa's in a little mini skirt. But I think the amount of legs shown is the same. They both wear boots, both wear gloves, although Tifa's gloves are longer and a little more detailed. I think the biggest thing is that Lara doesn't show off her stomach, whereas Tifa does. But I think outside of that, they're pretty much wearing, at least in the bare basics, very similar outfits, right? And detractors of Lara, always point to that and say, see, look at this costume. It's too sexy, and therefore she's being objectified. Not realizing, or perhaps not caring, that they seem to be the only ones objectifying her, right? But anyhow, that's the video. I hope you guys are doing well, wherever you are, whether it's day or night. And I will see you all in the next video. I'm going to eventually, one of these days, finish my Samara series, and then I have a few more things that I'm looking to do. So, more stuff is upcoming. So anyway, see you around. Bye.